Good morning everyone, welcome back to my channel. So we're out here in the garden again today and I've still got a load of pruning to do. We're well over halfway through June now, 2025, and it's been a good year so far. Everything's grown really well. So I've got loads of pruning to do, like I said, but what I thought I'd do is just give you a real quick update before I start pruning everything. I've already made a start on some things, but anyway, I'll spin you around and we'll give you a quick look around, see what's going on. Okay, so I've just put you on the wide angle lens just so you can see how much everything's grown. Look at all my trees there, you can't even, it's just a jungle. And potatoes have completely taken over the compost bin. Loads of fruit on the apple trees, which is really good. There was quite a few cherries, but most of them fell off. We've got a few red ones. The birds are helping themselves to them, which I don't mind. My mother-in-law's little Christmas tree there, little spruce Christmas tree. All that light green stuff is the new growth, you can see. So that's good. That's doing really well. All the other stuff's doing really well as well. That Rowan in the middle has grown about meters of growth so far this year. And we're still relatively early on into the actual growing season here in mid Wales in the UK. So we can get frosts up to the beginning of May, mid-May sometimes. And we're in mid-June now, so they've only been growing for about 6 weeks. So we've got about 12 weeks left before the frost comes back, so we only really get 18 to 20 weeks of decent growing weather. So now's the time to prune, because if you cut off the new growth now, you'll get another growth, another flush of growth, and you'll get lots of more branching on your trees if you prune them off, which I'm sure you know. So I've made another little bench here. I've showed you it before. I've got a few of my trees which I've done a bit more work on there. And obviously I've got all these are, I sort of keep the bigger ones down towards the front here. I probably will change things around, and I tend to move things, see what trees do well in certain places on the garden, because believe it or not, my garden is very sheltered. You can hear all the wind, but nothing's moving in here. So we get hot spots and we get cool spots in this little square garden, and shaded for most of the day. And if I go over there in the corner, it gets full sun most of the day. So certain trees do better in certain places in my garden. So if you've got a garden, just bear that in mind. If something's really struggling in one spot, it may be too hot, maybe getting too much sun or not enough sun. So you've kind of just got to see what works in certain areas in your space. Look at them foxgloves, they're really nice. These were seed grown, someone else gave them to me, and I think they were meant to be white foxgloves, but they're not. So obviously when grown from seed, they don't come true to the parent plant necessarily. I've got another one over here which is actually looking like it might be white, but they were the same seeds. So I guess it's with everything that you grow from seed. It's like, just like people, if it's grown from a seed or an embryo, it can be any sort of thing. You can get an outcome of anything. You can get really tall people, really short people. It's the same with plants. Just light my cigarette back up, and I shouldn't smoke. Sunflowers are also doing quite well. Not as good as some years, but you know, these two here are getting on for 6 foot now. This one's taller than me. This one's slightly shorter than me. And I'm just short of 6 foot, about 5'11", 5'10". So they're doing okay. They haven't started flowering yet, so they've got more growing to go. The second you see the head or the flower start developing, it won't get much taller than that, but these are quite far off. So they've got a lot of growing left to go, hopefully. Got a big Japanese maple there that you can see. I've had that from a little seedling. I've had that about 3 years now, 3 or 4 years. And the chestnut tree, that was grown from a seed. That's my biggest one, or my oldest one. I've had that about 3 or 4 years. And this year I picked up some more. So they're not necessarily bonsai trees, my trees. They can be ornamental trees just for the garden, or they're not necessarily specifically for bonsaiing. Is bonsaiing a word? Yeah, I've got some more seedlings this year. They're still stuck in little tiny pots at the moment, because I haven't got around to repotting them. So I've just put them in a tray of water to keep them hydrated, because they were drying out really quick. I really need to repot them at some point. So I've got 3 more of them, all putting out new growth now. They did struggle a little bit because I collected them the wrong time of year. So it was sort of late spring when I collected them. So they were well and truly growing. So if you collect them the wrong time of year, you just got to be careful, because it can put them back a bit. Even this one seems to have survived, and we're waiting on the second flush of growth. These ones have already started. That there is a staghorn sumac. A couple of times I've forgot the name for this in my videos, but I've remembered today, so that's good. This was collected from a friend's house. She has a bigger one, and it sends off little suckers all over the place. This one suckered up into the driveway, so it was going to get removed, so I pulled it up. Tiniest little bit of root. It had about one root about that long on it, just one little root, and that survived. So if you do it at the right time of year and you can keep it in the ideal condition. So I did that in the greenhouse, kept it moist, sprayed it, kept it well watered, and it's survived. So you've just got to watch the time of year that you do things, or mainly the actual growing conditions. You can get away with a lot if it's done at the right time. Like this little yew here, I picked up from the garden centre. Haven't shown you this much yet, I don't think. But I cut off all the roots pretty much on that, because they were absolutely terrible. It had been grown in one of them little fibre pot things, and it was still around the base, but all the roots were crammed into that. A few of them had come out, but I basically had to cut off everything just to sort it out a bit. And I took loads and loads of cuttings. Didn't do anything to them, just poked them in. And keep it in the ideal conditions. So throughout winter and spring, that was in the greenhouse. It's outside now because it's established itself. And we've got roots coming through the bottom. There's a slug under there. We don't want you, thank you. So I started yakking on a bit, so I've cut the video there. So on here, this is the 2 wisteria which I grew from seeds, and a cutting from a little cherry tree, I think, or it might be an elm, a little Chinese elm or a little Fuji cherry, I'm not quite sure now, looking at it. But that was just a little tiny cutting which I poked in there. These were in a smaller pot and they were struggling, so I've repotted them into this seed tray and they seem to be recovering. They all started going really yellow and drooping, and now they've perked back up again and they seem to be greening up, and we've got new growth starting to appear from the middles. This has been doing okay the whole time. You can probably see it was in a little tiny square seed tray, and I've just literally slip potted it into a bigger seed tray, and I've put it out so it gets a bit more sun and it drains a bit nicer. I drilled an extra few holes in this because it wasn't really draining that well. I don't think I even checked, but I think this is just one of them seed trays without drainage, so just watch your drainage. This is my hospital area. That's not actually a tree growing there, that is a dock, just a dock plant, dock leaves. I need to get that out of there. This one of the little birches from this clump has fully recovered, and a lot of the other ones look like they're not doing too well, but I just keep everything that's struggling a bit there, so I just thought I'd show you that quickly. It's not all, they don't all do well. A lot of trees do die, not a lot, but a fair few sometimes. In the greenhouse here we've got all my tomatoes there, doing really well. Haven't got any trees in here now. I've cleared everything out, so it's just fruit and veg in here, or fruit, just fruit, cucumbers, pepper plants here, doing really well. I didn't grow any of these from seed this year, I've just bought these in various different places. We have a new little shop in Llanidloes, which is in Mid Wales, and he sells cucumber plants. That's where I got one of these from. This one was from another local garden centre. The one with the tag on there says, what does it say? Cucumber from Lanny shop. These two were from a local garden centre. Quite unusual sounding pepper plants. That one is a sweet pepper F1 Delirio, and this one is a chili pepper Fresno. So these flowers become the fruit. Seem quite big, the flowers on this one. That's the sweet pepper, and this is the chili pepper, plenty of flowers. Each flower becomes a pepper, so we're looking good. Little cucumbers on there. Got to get around to doing some repotting. I have been feeding things just with container and basket feed. What I tend to do is just do half the ratio that it says. So it says 1 cap full, 1 inner cap, there's a little inner cap per 5 litre watering can. So I've got a 7 litre one, so I just tend to put 1 in there and do that. And just give everything a little water, not too much. That's got the fig trees there. I've put them all together. Got 3 cuttings which I've got going from this one, and we've got fruit on this. a lot of the old fruit fell off, and these are relatively new ones which have all grown. So that's good. Should get some figs by the looks of it. So a few of the actual fruits keep falling off, so I don't know, that one there looks a bit dodgy. And you can see these black specks starting to appear. So if anyone happens to know what's going on, that looks like it's had a nibble from a slug, so it's probably actually, the whole thing's probably slug damage in the past. Tomatoes doing well, I think I need to water them. Yep, that's completely dry. You can see it's starting to sag a bit. But it's better that it does that than being overwatered. So they don't mind. They'd rather be underwatered than overwatered, basically. We won't get any rot or anything. But it's the perfect time to water them anyway, just as they start drooping. Tomatoes on there. I've got a few more trusses going. Little tiny tomatoes just starting on that one. And then there's a couple more. So I'll let it do maybe one more. We've got one there and a new one on the top there. So I'll let them develop a bit and then probably just cut the top of the plant off to stop it growing any new trusses. In the UK we can't just let our tomato plants grow because, well, we can, but we tend to find that the lower fruit develops faster if you cut the top and stop it from making new flowers, because it takes too much energy. So these are all money maker variety, and this big one on the end here is it just said beefsteak. Again, this is from the shop local to me, so that's a beefsteak tomato. So we've had quite a bit of rain. There's been a load of thunderstorms around. Most of them missed us. So the water butts, that one I've used a lot of already. This one's down to about 2/3, just under. So it doesn't last long. I need to collect more rainwater really. Trees that we pruned recently perked right back up, and you see already we're getting dormant branches start developing. That's a sage plant. The magnolia there, forgot the name of that last time I updated you. I don't know how I forget certain things. Just comes to doing a video and then you get a brain fart. So that's the magnolia, the big one that I got from my mum and dad's garden, and I've really hacked it back because it was a huge tree, and I've stuck it in a pot. I think that's like a 30-litre pot or something, so it didn't have a huge amount of roots. It's probably pretty much filled that pot now, so we need to keep an eye on it, and I am going to prune it a bit at the end of the year. See where we've got multiples of branches. We only want 2. Each time it splits, you want it to split into 2. So if there's anything more than 2, they'll be gone. And obviously the ones that are really vigorous, we want to cut them back, especially if they're not the actual top of the tree. So this is just a side branch. So I want to keep that as a side branch and not let it take over the main trunk of the tree. I can't believe them potato plants in there. These were just potatoes that were in the kitchen. And I've just poked 6 in the compost bin. 1 in each corner and 2 in the middle. And this is what's happened. That's my newest bench. A little spruce tree here. This was struggling a bit. Seems to be recovering now. The old needles are yellowing and falling off. That's a hawthorn, or 3 hawthorns in there. They were little seedling hawthorns that popped up in a plant pot. One of them I've put a piece of wire on at some point in the past, this one. It's all curvy, you can see where the wire's dug in a bit. And the other 2 I've just let grow straight. So I did a little bit of root work when I put them in, so I just spread the roots out. Don't think I did much else. So I was thinking about separating them, but I don't know. I suppose you could grow a nice trio of trees. Why can't you do that in bonsai? Little clump style with 3. And that one's got 4 birches in there. Seed grown, so they're either silver birch or red birch. I had 2 sets of seeds collected. So they may be all the same. Looks like there may be some slightly different ones in there, so again I'm just going to leave them to grow in a clump. That's the field maple. It's planted in a washing up bowl at the moment. Training that to be a bonsai. So I've just been cutting it back. So it's grown a fair amount. Hazelnut. Done loads of work on that. It's difficult to show you when they're on the benches, so at some point I'll bring them in one at a time and give them a prune and sort them out. This one I've done a bit more. I've put some wire on it because I've been trying to bend these thicker branches because I don't really want to remove them at the moment. So I'm just working with what I've got. That was grown from a seed, so I've done all sorts to it. Japanese maple. That was the bare rooted one that I did. Again, I've done a couple of different chops at different points. Only in the past sort of less than a year. That was a competing leader about the same thickness, and already since doing that, these can just become branches at some point or removed, but I'm going to follow this one up to be the actual trunk of the tree and then cut it back gradually till we get lower down. That's way in the future. I'm just letting it grow now. Little silver birch there. There's a gooseberry there, got flattened by the pear tree. The wind blew that over. It should be fine. A few branches have snapped, but I'll just let it be for now. We'll be able to tell what's broken and what's not soon. If I try and pull it all back up, it might snap things. And it's still windy, so it can just stay like that for now. Loads of little apples on there. I've got 3 or 4 apple trees now, can't remember how many. I was given 2 last year, and one of them's turned out to be a pear tree, so that's quite good. And we've got 3 pears on it. Considering it was almost dead and I've had to cut back the top and stuff. Look at the new growth, there's about 1 metre of new growth in places. And we've actually got 3 pears on that, so that's good. There's a little cherry tree there. So this was picked up at a garden centre, really cheap. It was only a few pounds. Can't even remember how much. It wouldn't have been any more than £5. And it's got the main sort of stock down here, and the graft's all the way up here. So not ideal at all, because we've got really quite severe inverse taper from the stock to the graft. So I don't know, I'll just grow that for the fruit and leave it as it is, probably, rather than cutting all that off and bonsaiing it. That was just a little flowering currant cutting. This is just shows you how much better things do in the ground, because this was the smallest one that I had. Tiny little stick. And just look at it now. I'll spin you around so you can compare it with the ones that I've had in pots. If I can find them. So there's one up there. This one. I have pruned it obviously, so, and it is stuck in a little pot. We've done more work on that. And this one's in a slightly bigger pot, but again, looks nowhere near as healthy. They look healthy, but that one's just been left alone in the ground. The foxgloves again, more potatoes. These were just volunteered. As in, I didn't plant them, they sprouted from last year's missed potatoes. Sunflowers. Cherries. That sunflower's actually getting quite big, isn't it? It's amazing you don't notice them and then all of a sudden they grow. Like, when did that get to over 6 foot tall? Last time I tied it on, it was there, so I haven't really done much the past couple of weeks, so it's probably 3 weeks it's doubled in size. Slugs have eaten that one over there. It doesn't have a head anymore. I don't know what will happen, if it will regrow. Sometimes they can grow from in between the leaves. Which this one is, so it might still carry on flowering. Tomatoes perked up now as well. I was struggling in there. Like I said earlier, it's only really just started to really warm up. Although we've had hot days, just until recently it's still been getting down to 3 or 4 in the night, so all stuff here is doing well. Shallots and onions. Yeah, that's an artichoke I've had for a couple of years. Never seems to do too well, but it looks alright this year. I kept it in the greenhouse all last year because it died off, and then I found the bulb because it just started sprouting. So I put it in a pot in the greenhouse and it did really well. And then I planted it back out. And I picked up another type of artichoke, globe artichoke. That was just a seed grown one from someone local at a car boot sale. And then I sowed a load of beefsteak tomatoes, but I haven't got room for them in the greenhouse, so I've just planted a few of them out in various places. Another one down there. We'll just see how they go. Tomatoes don't tend to do well outside where we are because we don't get enough decent days weather. It's very damp and quite cool here generally. Empress tree's getting really big. Apparently if I want it to grow really big leaves again, I've got to cut the trunk back and just let one shoot grow. Like this one here, I could leave that one and cut everything else off and that would just grow huge. Massive leaves and just grow straight up. But if I leave all that on, it won't get as bigger leaves. It'll just get more of them. So, not much I have to show you. Got the grapevines growing up the greenhouse there, and the kiwi. Okay everyone, so hope I didn't waffle on too much there, but it's just such a nice day and everything's just growing so well. I just wanted to show you everything. So it may be a bit long, so I do apologise about that. But yeah, thanks anyway if you made it this far. Any questions, advice, comments, just drop a comment below. Don't forget to like the video and share it if you can. I'll see you on the next one. Hope you're all good.